Greetings! The following presentation further shows clearly that the published indictment and commencement of extradition proceedings against Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran were bogus at the onset and continues to be bogus as long as it remains. As a consequence of Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran's anti-corruption stance, they were targeted by President Johnson's relief and other members of the president's corruption clique. The president's corruption clique plotted, per Defense Minister Brani Samukai and Police Director Chris Massaquoi, framed, per Defense Minister Samukai, threatened, per Airport Chief of Security Zuba and Police Director Chris Massaquoi, falsified documents, per then Transportation Minister Eugene Nangwe and Airport Board Secretary Cecilia Co, discouraged any independent investigation, per Senior Senator Clarice Jah, and were offered to set up a fake investigation, per Senior Senator Clarice Jah, to cover up discovered corruption practices. Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran further engaged the legislature for an independent investigation and hearing. Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran had direct telephonic conversations with several senators and members of the House of Representatives, including President pro tempore of the Senate, Gbengaghon Findley. In this recording, you will hear the conversation between Ellen Corcoran and Senate pro temp Findley. In the conversation, Ellen Corcoran clearly pleads for an independent investigation and hearing by the Liberian legislature. Senate Pro Tem Findley agrees with Ellen Corcoran that an independent investigation and hearing must be conducted. Senate Pro Tem Findley further assures Ellen Corcoran that he would personally bring the written request to the legislative floor for an immediate scheduling of the investigative hearing. As directed by Senate Pro Tem Findley, Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran did submit a written request to the Liberian legislative body. Thereafter, Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran personally made multiple follow-up phone calls to Senate Pro Tem Findley, but to no avail. Additionally, Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran engaged various supporters in Liberia to call and follow up with Senate Pro Tem Findley, but they too were unsuccessful. As of today, there has been no action per the assurances from Senate Pro Temp and no Senate hearing despite the efforts of Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran and others. Following the recorded phone conversation, you will also see and have read copies of the written correspondences submitted to Senate Pro Tempore Findley. Please listen and read.
The reason I'm calling is I'm sure you're aware of some of the different things that's been going on with at the airport and my departure from there. What I need to do, and I don't know the proper way to do it, and thank God I still have your number here, so I said let me call and ask you, how can I best bring this in front of either the Senate or the legislative body so that we have a proper hearing and let the people clear my name, whatever will count or let it count all. You see what I'm saying? As opposed to it being where the media pick up this story. The last time I saw that, they said I left the country with over $1 million, something I've never seen in my life before. So I think it's fair to the Liberian public to know what's happening, and I imagine the Senate and the legislative body would be interested as well. So I want to see, as a citizen, what can I do through either your office, the House, or the legislative body, whatever, so that we can get this thing done properly. And then the Liberian public don't know what's going on. The things that I try to bring forward so that we can be able to fix the airport, everybody wanted to push it under the rug. But as a pilot, I had to speak up because I had a fiduciary responsibility to the public to ensure that we're doing the proper things. So I beg you, Mr. Senate Pro Tem, I need to find out how I can. Liberia is my home, and I'm supposed to be in Liberia.
Yeah, what the way you can do is write a letter to the Senate.
Okay.
Write a letter to Liberian President Pro Tempore and Liberian Senate.
Okay.
And then they read that, and then they will have to start looking into the.
Okay. So is that something when I write the letter, how do I get it? Do I email it to you? I got your email here.
So you can email it. You can email it to Senator Baruch. Either one of them.
Okay. I don't have his, you got his number because I can't find his card or his, so I don't have his number or email here with me.
Yeah, I got his number, but he's the phone. I don't know how to access it.
Oh, okay. So you recommend Senator Balu because of what? Is he the head of a particular department within the Senate?
No, I'm just saying. No. The section, the head is Senator Jared Bush.
Okay.
The head of that committee.
Oh, okay.
So you just send it over to me. Just send it to my email, and then I will be able to download it and then read it.
Okay. So am I considering the right option? Is this the right way to go about it, or is there something else that you recommend that I consider as well?
Well, I mean, the issue is to, one of the things too, of course, you got the way to go to us is political. We'll also go the legal way by suing, going to the courts.
I know, Senator, I mean, that's true, but, when you think about the reality of it is that, even if we were to sue, I don't expect that. I don't know. I guess I don't really have trust in that. My hope is that at least with another branch of the government, we can have.
Basically what we'll do, we'll basically hold hearings.
Yeah.
If you come and testify, and then we'll ask them to testify.
Exactly.
And hopefully that way the truth will come out.
Right. Okay. Okay, so Senator, I want to come back home. Well, Liberia is my home. This is my first attempt to come back home, and there are people there that I know I can make a difference, even if it's just a small difference, like putting a roof on my house from time to time. So I cannot let this thing jeopardize the efforts and that I know I can bring forward.
That's the way to go. You go to that option.
Yeah.
In the hearing, you say what you have to say. They can say what they have to say. And that way, hopefully, the press will pick up the truth.
Yeah.
The longer you stay away without doing this, the longer it will be. I mean, the more it will be mind to the people.
Exactly.
Or you decide to just ignore the whole thing and move on. Well, you have three options, and then three won't go to court.
Well, that's true. I mean, but if I don't think it's something to just ignore, so I think,
yeah, but your character now, so, you're talking about character.
Yeah.
So,
but especially since we're talking about character, I imagine ignoring will probably be the worst one to do. Don't you agree?
yeah.
So, okay, so I will put a letter together. I mean, so is this a realistic expectation to have a hearing? What exactly am I requesting? What would it be called?
You're writing and explaining what the situation that happened,
And
requesting that the Senate look into the matter, because your character is at stake, and you feel that as a Liberian, you can take it as a picture. I mean, that's the basic essence of that. You can explain in some details. Don't make it a long letter.
yeah.
You'd like for the Senate to please look into this matter.
Okay. Okay. And so how realistic is it how soon do you think I can hopefully expect a hearing? And what about my safety? Because Musa Ability will have sent people to the house where I was staying. Like I said, they turned lights off, water. They took my security. So, of course, it gives me concern as a young woman to come back. So what about my security?
But that I can't do much about. The security, I don't think. The country is a country. Nobody has done it.
Okay.
You shouldn't accept that. The house was the airport house or what?
Yeah, the airport house. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will put this together. And could you kindly text me Senator Balu number? My number came up, eh?
Okay, I will.
My phone number here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Pro Tem. Okay. Bye-bye. First, conversations in the early part of March, followed by email on Wednesday, March 6, 2013 at 9:31 a.m. Ellen writes to the Honorable Senator Pro Temp, "Greetings, Honorable Senator Pro Temp. Thank you for the brief conversation on Monday. I have attached, per our discussion, a request for a Senate hearing. Please note that I have not been able to obtain Senators Sharif Doe's email to send this to her. Thank you for your support in this matter, and I look forward to a scheduled hearing." Now this is a reading of the actual memorandum that was sent to the Senate, dated 6 March 2013, titled Memorandum for Honorable Members of the Liberian Senate via the President Pro Temp. Subject: immediate request for a special Senate hearing within the next 21 days. Number 1, as part of my commitment to my fellow Liberians and to transparency, I am requesting a full hearing on all allegations brought against me, including but not limited to the following: that Musa Ability unilaterally or perhaps under the auspices of higher leadership falsified a letter that the board fired me. Minister Nagbe and Board Secretary Mrs. Seal, in recordings, clearly states that Ability tried to strong-arm his will, but the board did not reach a resolution to fire me. Rather, that the president's communication to investigate was to be carried out. 24 hours later, Mrs. Seal is heard crying on tape that she had been threatened to falsify board minutes to indicate that the board fired me. The next day, Ability leaked his falsified letter to Front Page Africa, bypassing all presidential ordered investigation, and stated on tape that if they were to do an audit/investigation of Roberts International Airport, it would expose the government for the past 7 years. He also ordered Robert International Airport's Chief of Security to throw me out of my assigned residence, shut off my lights and water, raided my office and later my home, removing all records and some of my belongings, then welded my office shut. To this, I am requesting reinstatement and grounds to fully make the Senate and public aware of all happenings. Next allegation, that I violated PPCC regulations and awarded a contract to Diaspora Consulting. Next allegation, that the Minister of Finance wrote a letter to the President with accusations against me for the intent of leaking the letter to the press so that I may be ousted. To this, I am requesting a copy of the letter and further investigation into this egregious act. Next allegation, that I escaped the country with a varied amount of monies, all the way up to $1 million US. Next allegation, that I attempted to defraud the government of anywhere from $250,000 to $500,000 US. Next allegation, that I bypassed immigration and customs on arrival to the airport. Next allegation, hazardous conditions at the airport. Number 2, I wish to present the Senate and the Liberian public with documents in various forms pertinent to all allegations made against me and to the condition of the airport. I request your cooperation in this matter by granting me the opportunity to participate in this valuable hearing. While in Liberia, right up until my departure in February, Ability and his cohorts brought numerous false allegations against me and continues to still trump up allegations and threaten my safety and welfare. Billety's reckless behavior posed grave danger upon me, and I had to flee for my life. To this, I am wholeheartedly requesting safety and security during my stay in Liberia for the full hearing. Additionally, I am requesting assurance of immunity rationale, materia, and or immunity rationale personae while in Liberia from any and all trumped-up charges, given that Billety and his crew have had full range to prosecute me at will thus far. To this, I am not sure what climate still exists for my return. My only hope is to be open and transparent to all. Thank you for your understanding regarding this matter. And then point of contact is listed, followed by signature of Ellen Kwame Corcoran.
Having engaged or attempted to engage the executive branch for assistance against corruption, Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran only received plotting, threats, falsification, discouragement, and fake investigation set up from President Johnson's Sirleaf and her corruption clique. Having engaged the legislative branch for assistance against corruption and transparency to the Liberian people, Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran have received no action or interest despite many assurances from several members of the legislative body. Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran have now engaged the only remaining branch of government in Liberia, the judicial branch. Consistent with a preliminary ruling by Judge Blamo Dixon on December 11, 2013, Judge Blamo Dixon stated that the government of Liberia had submitted no evidence against Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran. Also, Section 18.2 of the Liberian Code of Law states, unless good cause is shown, a court shall dismiss an indictment if the defendant is not tried during the next succeeding term of court after the finding of the indictment. Since the indictment against Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran was found during the May 2013 term of court, the next succeeding term after the finding of the indictment would have been the August 2013 term of court. Since the August 2013 term of court expired in October 2013, per the Liberian Code of Law, the indictment must be dismissed. Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran have now filed a motion to dismiss with the court and provided a copy of the nearly 300-page dossier to the court, to Judge Blamo Dixon and the Liberian Ministry of Justice. The dossier contains emails, bank slips, bank statements, contracts, technical reports, audit reports, receipts, airport board resolutions, airport board minutes, proposals for work, etc. This is a copy of the same dossier that Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran have previously shared with various members of the United States government, the Liberian government, members of the Liberian media, members of the international media in the United States, international media in the United Kingdom, sympathizers, and friends of Liberia. Next, you will see actual copies of the filed motion to dismiss, and you will also see the notice of service that was served upon the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Justice. Please watch and read. The following document is the motion to dismiss that has been filed on behalf of Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran. Turning your attention to the middle of the page towards the right side, you would see the way by which the court system in Liberia acknowledges filings. Apparently, that process is done via handwritten scripts As you would see on the right side, there's a handwritten script, and it reads, filed March 28, 2014 at 3:45 p.m., followed by what appears to be the signature of the clerk, apparently a male senior clerk of Court C. Further down, you will see the title, The Motion to Dismiss. So this is proof positive that Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran have filed a motion to dismiss with the Court C in Liberia with the clerk, and the same was filed per the script on March 28, 2014 at 3:45 p.m. The following document is a notice of service. This document, along with the motion to dismiss for failure to proceed with prosecution by Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran, was served on the government of Liberia through the Ministry of Justice. Turning your attention to the bottom of the document, you would see that date received. That appears to be March 28, 2014. Received by appears to be a female, A. Cecilia Grace. I cannot quite make out the last name. And on the very bottom it says signature/position. And that female appears to put her position as secretary. So this is proof positive that the government of Liberia has been served with the motion to dismiss from Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran, and that service was effected through the Justice Ministry. As a consequence of God's divine providence, Judge Johnson and Ellen Corcoran are safe in exile in the United States. However, President Johnson, Sirleaf, and her corruption clique continues to carry on business as usual in Liberia. After 8 years of much travel, fanfare, and an abundance of rhetoric without action, corruption and plundering remains rampant. It is time that Liberians rally, join effort with international sympathizers, and demand that President Johnson, Sirleaf, and her corruption clique step down. For if Liberia keeps doing what Liberia has been doing, Liberia will keep getting what it had been getting. Liberia deserves better, and Liberia must receive better. May God bless Liberia.